After the cold winter, the weather gets warmer. It's spring. Plants begin to grow. Green leaves push through the brown earth, and spring flowers begin to bloom. Daffodils, crocuses. The warmer weather brings out the insects. Catkins grow on the bare branches. They come out before the leaves. There are buds and new shoots on trees and shrubs. Everywhere, new life is beginning.
Now look closely at the surface of the water and you'll see dozens and dozens of frogs. All over the winter they've been hibernating. They've been asleep, if you like, in the mud at the bottom of the pool. And all of the time that they were asleep, they were breathing through their skins. Now they're becoming very active. You'll hear the frogs croaking. Can you hear them? And they're pairing up, male frogs and female frogs. And female frogs will soon lay their eggs. In fact, can you see the eggs that have been laid already? Look, can you see it? A big mass of frog spawn. Let me fish some out for you. Right, now look very closely and you'll see each of those little eggs is like a little round ball of jelly. And inside there is a dark dot. Now each of those dark dots will turn into a tadpole. A tadpole's a little bit like a little fish, isn't it? It'll swim around in the water for several weeks and gradually it'll change and it'll become a frog. I'll fish out a frog. We'll have a close look at him. Should we get this brown one, I think? Move back a little bit so that you all have a close look at the frog. Right, there we are, the adult frog. Whoops. Very, very, very slippery. It's very difficult to handle. Can you see those webs in between the toes? Have you ever seen people who go diving in the sea? They're called frogmen, aren't they, these people that go diving? And they've got flippers just like the foot of a frog. Now, his skin is very, very moist and very slimy. Can you feel how slimy he is, how wet? Because he breathes through his skin.
In spring, the fields are full of young lambs. Later on, leaves grow on the trees. Then the blossoms appear. Bees love the blossoms. They collect nectar and pollen from the flowers for food. In orchards, the fruit trees are covered with blossom. These are the flowers on a pear tree. And this is apple blossom. In spring, birds build nests. Sparrows often make their nests in a hole in the wall or the roof of a house. This hen sparrow has found a feather to use in her nest. There's her mate. These sparrows have chosen a place for their nest right at the top of a roof where a tile is missing. Another sparrow is nesting inside a wall. The blackbirds have made a beautiful nest in a hedge. There are 5 eggs in it. There's the cock blackbird. These swallows don't live here in the winter. They fly back in the spring to build their nests. They often build them high up in an old building. They use mud to make their nests. The days get warmer and more flowers come out. The bees collect nectar and pollen from the flowers for food. They carry the pollen in pollen bags on their back legs. Let's look at some of the flowers that we can see in summer and listen to some of the sounds we can hear. The blackbird is looking for food for his babies. This spider would make a nice meal. He'll have to hide if he doesn't want to be caught. All the birds seem to be looking for food. Some birds, like swallows, catch little insects while they're flying. Sometimes they find them high up in the air, and sometimes very low down. The birds need to find lots of food for their babies. These are young thrushes. They're opening their beaks because they're hungry. We must hide their nest again and go away. Then their parents will come back and feed them. The frog spawn has hatched into tadpoles. They have round bodies and a tail. When they're about 8 weeks old, they grow their back legs. They're beginning to turn into frogs. Then they grow front legs and lose their tails. The bees are still collecting pollen. And here's another nest. It's a wild bee's nest. In summer, we can do all kinds of things we don't do in the winter. Go swimming, play tennis, and cricket. Sometimes there's a sudden storm, lightning, thunder, and rain. But it's not long before the sun comes out once more and we can go outside again. If the sun's too hot for you, you can sit in the shade. Or there may be some nice cool water to paddle in. Butterflies don't seem to mind how hot it is. They love the warm sun on their wings. These are cabbage white butterflies. They're collecting nectar from the flowers like the bees do. That's called a tortoiseshell butterfly. And that's a peacock butterfly. At the end of the summer term, it's school sports day. And when term ends, it's time for the summer holidays.